What is up, fellow summoners? Welcome back to the game today. Not the game. Listen to me. What is up, fellow summoners? Welcome back to the channel today. My name's Joel. Thanks for stopping by. This is a follow-up, part 2 to the video that I put out yesterday on who you should be ranking up, who you should be ranking down. And what I wanted to do with this video was to be able to provide you guys with a way, even if you haven't been playing for a long time, to kind of go through and figure out, if you've got a couple characters that you're choosing between, who it is that you should be ranking up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to a chart that I put together last night. It's very simplistic. It's nothing special, but I think it's going to help visualize and give you kind of some direction to go in with these characters. So here the chart is. Broken up into 3 separate categories here. You got utility, you've got damage, and you've got unique. I wasn't really sure what to call it. But basically what you do is you're going to take a character, which I'll walk through a couple of examples here in just a second. But you'll take a character and you're going to go through each one of those tiers there. And for every ability that you can tick off and say, yes, they've got this, you're going to count that as a point. And what I found when I was going through, I went through a lot of champions, is champions that I was able to kind of tick off at least 4 things or more. Those really tended to be the champions that I would say are in tier 1, and I would say those are the characters that have the highest utility and can be used in the most areas of the game. And ultimately, those are the characters you should be ranking up first. Anybody else that was only scoring like 1, 2, or 3, not that they're terrible characters, but they just didn't have the overall usefulness of the characters that are ranking 4 and higher. So what I want to do is I want to walk through a couple examples with you. It's very simplistic, but hopefully this is kind of going to visualize and help you better understand who you should be ranking up. Alright, for the first character we're going to look at here, we've got SpiderMan. And underneath the utility, I'm not sure, unless I'm missing something, but I don't have any points to give him underneath of utility. And really, underneath of damage, the only point I've got to give him there is underneath of buffs. We've got AR/BR that stands for armor break. He hits very, very hard when he has his armor break on, especially if you can do a special 2. You get a crit with an armor break up. You're probably doing somewhere between 6.5 to 8,000 damage, which is a really strong attack. The other points that I can give to him are all wrapped up kind of into evasion, which that's all part of his awakened ability, part of his play style, so I can't really split all of those up into separate points because they all have to do with evasion. So at the most, you're looking at giving him 2, maybe 3 points. He's good as an Alliance War defender, but as far as having high utility, as you can see there, he falls underneath of that 4-point threshold, which is why I didn't have him in my tier 1 and tier 2 that I did with my first video. Next up, we've got Hulk. Hulk is a really exciting character. If you haven't looked at him yet, I've got a whole video that I did kind of breaking down the buffs that he received. And the reason why I would recommend him to you is going to be laid out here once we start going through the points. You'll see that it all matches up. Underneath of his utility, he now has a very high chance to stun with his special abilities. Depending upon how many Fury buffs up that you have up when you stun them will increase the duration of the stun. And you are very easily able to kind of chain lock and put several S1s together, keep them stunned for a long time, and do a lot of damage to the character. Under immunity, he is poison immune, so that's a second point right there. Underneath armor, technically he does, if you look through the character lists, he has one of the highest armor ratings in the game, so I'm going to give him a point there. Underneath of damage, doesn't have any bleed effects or bleed type effects. The only thing he's got under his buff is a Fury buff, which it's a very good Fury buff. It stacks, and underneath of his 25%, I believe it is, when you get below 25% health, there's an additional Fury buff that pops up, so I've got a point there that gets him to 4. His awakened ability, I give a point for. The lower he gets in health, the harder you're going to hit. So the lower you get in health, and when you really need to be pumping out more damage, he's there, for you to help kind of get you over the hump and to finish out a fight. Very strong awakened ability. So that gets him to 5 points. And that, as you can see, like I was saying, when you get to 4 and more, those are the characters that I'm going to recommend, and that's kind of the reason why I recommend him. Next up, I've got Gomorrah as an example, which I've had Gomorrah for a long time. I have her awakened, I want to say at least 60, maybe even level 80. But I really just, I have not been able to use Gomorrah at all, which is unfortunate because I enjoy playing with her, but she just has no real good spot in the game right now. Underneath of utility, which is the big knock on her, she just does not have any points there that she can gain from the utility tree. She picks up all of her points really underneath of damage. She has a very strong bleed ability. That's a point there. She has a very good critical buff and critical damage that she gets. That's 2 points. And then her awakened ability, assassination, seems to proc a lot. So you can give her a point there as well. But even with all that damage she can put out, that only gets her to 3. Which kind of puts her in that kind of second rung of characters that are kind of an afterthought, that don't really have a real good place right now in the game. Vision is the next character we're going to take a look at, and if you remember back to my tier list, he fell into tier 1. Really, he, Ultron, and Star-Lord are kind of interchangeable, and you'll see here he's got a lot of points, and that's why he's up in that tier. He's got a very good power drain under utility, probably the best power drain in the whole game. I mean, with his special 2, he totally wipes out all the enemy's power, even if they're at a full 3 bars of power. Underneath of immunity, you can actually split up there and give him 2 points because he is both fully poison and bleed immune, so that gets him to 3. His damage did receive a buff. His specials are doing double damage, sometimes more than that, compared to what he was doing before patch 12.0, but I'm not technically going to give him a point there. He's more of a control character. Under unique, though, is where he picks up a couple more points. His awakened ability, the more power that you drain, the more power you are going to be receiving back yourself. So once you are able to finally get a special 2 and fire that off, especially if the enemy has got 2 or 3 bars of power, you're going to get a lot of that back yourself, which is going to push you almost instantly back into a special 1. And then you can kind of keep chaining those specials and draining the enemy's power, which is where his control aspect kicks in. And then also underneath of his specials, a lot of people may not realize this if they haven't played him a lot, but his special 2 heal blocks the opponent, and his special 1, if you use it and the enemy is below 1 bar of power, it also heal locks the opponent. So that's really good for characters like Iron Man and Ultron. If you know that there is a regeneration about to come, you can time all that and use a special 2 to get around it. He even will get around Magic's Limbo. If you have the heal lock up from a special, during the Limbo phase when it runs out, all the damage you did is not going to go back to her. So by my count there, that gets him to 5. Again, you can see when we're talking 4+, those are the characters you should be taking a look at. Crossbones is a really fun character to play. I just finally pulled him as a 4-star a couple of weeks ago. Don't have him duped yet. But I did not have him on the tier 1 and tier 2, and I've got a lot of questions about that. And I can kind of walk through here and show you my thinking behind it. Underneath of utility, he just does not have anything there to hang his hat on, unfortunately. He's very much not a bleed character, but a damage-based character. He's got a very good buff. Obviously, his fury buff is kind of what the character is all built around. But underneath of unique, his awakened ability, and then the kind of the last part there of unique where you can shrug off debuffs, that's all kind of rolled into one because he only has a chance to shrug off debuffs if he is awakened. So I can't really split up there and give him multiple points. That gets him to 2. And then also, I'm sorry, I did fail to mention with his special 2, he does have an incinerate. So even that, if you want to add that in, that still only gets him to 3. So again, that's why I didn't have him in my top 1 or 2 tiers in the skill class. And then the last example that I'm going to walk through for you is Magic. Magic is kind of in a league of her own right now. There's very few characters that can kind of match up with the number of points that she can pick up. She's got a regen, which she gets through her Limbo. Any damage that she receives is reversed. She has both a power lock and a power drain with her special 2. That gets her to 3 points. She has a nullify with her special 1. She can remove, fury effect, armor effect, crit effect, anything like that she can remove with her special 1. Underneath of her damage, I can't really give her any points there, but that is all kind of wrapped up underneath of her awakened ability. So she obviously gets a point for her awakened ability. That gets her to 5. Her Limbo is just, you can't play around it. It procs a lot. The higher, when she's awakened, it procs a lot, but the higher levels you get, it really procs a lot. And then really underneath of her playstyle, you can give her a point there, or you can wrap it up into her awakened ability. You cannot play around Limbo. You're going to take a lot of damage by Limbo, and you are going to be being hit by Limbo a lot. So if you want to give her a point there or not, you know, that's debatable. She's at 5 or 6. And then she also has got really good prestige, which is not something I had mentioned with any of the other characters on here yet. But that is something that you need to take into consideration as you push towards endgame. So depending upon how you want to score that, either way, she's well over 4. She's up somewhere around 5 or 6, which is why I've got her so high on the Mystic tier list. Alright, hopefully those examples are enough to be able to kind of get you started. If you have any questions, I'd be able to help you out. Do keep in mind that I didn't run this test for every single character. This is just kind of a baseline and a good place to start. So if you happen to find a character that I didn't have on my tier list that you say, hey, they've got 7 points. Sorry, bro, it's not your list. Make your own list. I don't mean that to be mean. I'm just saying there's probably characters out there that are gonna throw a wrench into this whole thing. But like I said, it's a good place to start, and it kind of gives an explanation as far as where I've got the people at on my tier list, and hopefully will help you kind of get an understanding of where you should be going with your roster. All right, hopefully again this was a help to you. Leave any comments down below. Would be happy to help you out there as well. Thanks for the support as always. Until the next video, guys, I will see you then. Take care.